Hey everybody. I think
Hello,
everybody's in
everybody.
here now.
Welcome. Yes.
Hello.
It's everyone in. Well,
Hey.
hello, Marcus.
Yeah.
If you can spread the word about we are getting started on the different social media, will be really grateful.
Yeah,
And
let's test that.
guys, another Thursday, another European town hall with this theme. We put our efforts to bring you 2 town halls in 1 month, so people can know news and what is happening and more information about the different projects in the ecosystem. So as always, this is the European Town Hall of the European Cardano community. And important news, if you apply to be a host in the IOG / Cardano Foundation / Emurgo form to be a host of the SIP, please check your email because there had been answering the info for those who weren't selected to host in-person events and virtual events. And Marcus, you want to announce our big news, or we are going to
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. We have been accepted for hosting 2 workshops, and the onboarding for those workshops will commence for the hosts next Tuesday because everybody has been quite busy. You can read what we're up to in our Discord, and yeah, it's going to be basically 2 workshops that build on another. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to learn, you're going to learn, we're going to learn from each other, and then everybody else is going to learn. And I don't know who's going to learn else.
But the main idea is to discuss, and after the debate and the meetings, we are going to present a document with all the insights and thoughts of that workshop. So exactly. It's a huge success of our teams being elected by IO. So, and also if you apply, please check your email because they need some data. So you need to fill and send through email that information. And this is our mantra. This is the Catalyst mantra. And now we have our own mantra. And maybe this will be the last time we read the Catalyst mantra to go forward to ours, but let's do it one last time. So, Davide, are you there to read the...
Of course I am. Benvenuti all'esperimento.
Les choses peuvent.
Quebrar.
Filen de documentación.
Diferir ampliamente entre interacciones.
Disorient, overload, and inspire.
And he wants to read the tricky part of our goal. Bahit?
Sure, let me move away with the pictures. Okay, cool. So our goal, provide a safe and lively environment for you to explore the highest potential de la colaboración humana.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Great.
Perfecto. And we are building a new mantra of the European Cardano community to these meetings and to promote our community. So if you want to read it, anyone?
So I think the most important one to from the technical side is keep your notes up to date. So important. Try to study and learn something new every day. Support and connect with community members for synergy and goals. And now the next ones. Be inclusive, friendly, and wise with words, even in anger. I think that's even more important today. And share information without destroying dreams, people, or the reputation. And I like the plane in the background.
What do you guys think? I think it's amazing.
I love it.
Great.
If you have some thoughts or rules do you want to include in this new mantra, you can throw it in the Discord chat and we will discuss it in the next town hall and maybe we'll add it. Remember that we've made different tour space in different language. Until today, we have Portuguese, Greek, and Dutch and Italian spaces. So If you want to host a space in any language, just ask someone from the team. And this is the QR code with all the information and social media of the European Cardano community. So I don't want to talk anymore. I will give the word to our first guest of this night, to the team of OpenShine. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
It's option.
Can I-
Niles.
Option, yeah. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, let me make you course. Just a second.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
you should be able to share.
And you can hear me. That's the most
Perfect.
important thing. Yes, perfect. So let me start. You should be able to see this. Perfect. Yes, my name is Niels. I'm presenting here Opshin Toolchain, which is, if you're more technically inclined or less technically inclined, a good way to start writing smart contracts on Cardano. So essentially, what is Opshin? Opshin is trying to make developing the apps on Cardano more accessible, and also the apps themselves. How? Well, the most important thing is with Opshin, you can actually write smart contracts in Python. So you might have heard that a lot of Cardano stuff is being built in Haskell, and that's all nice for the node because it brings security guarantees. But if you want to build an app, if you want build a smart contract quickly and just scratch it out, then you might want to opt in for Python, which is intuitive, easy to understand, one of the most spoken programming languages or written programming languages out there. It comes built in with support with the off-chain library PyCardano. It brings a benchmarking and testing framework and brings some optimizations, like everything you would need as simple tools. Just run it in your command line and understand it because it's a simple build. So now you're maybe asking, okay, wait, what are these smart contracts? How exactly do they work on Cardano? They are essentially on Cardano, you have addresses, these accounts where some people can have their funds locked. And if you have the key to it, then only you can unlock it. This is called pubkey locked. And I drew this, I let a model draw this very nice old chest, which is the traditional way. If you have a key, then you can unlock it. That's good. And all your funds are safe in the chest unless someone steals your key or you approve it with your own key. So smart contracts now are what blockchain brings us, essentially, this new fancy stuff. It's a program that can that defines some rules for someone to unlock funds from this chest. So it's like in the bottom, you have this very fancy padlocked chest. So essentially, this contract, you give it some extra information, like, oh, this person locked the funds, and there's here this is the current time, and then the chest says, okay, yeah, you can spend funds because now is after, I don't know, 1st of January 2024. That might be the condition. And yeah, so these things can be quite useful. You can lock. You can, for example, use it as an escrow if you're doing a contract with someone on a small scale, or you can trade. All these decentralized exchanges, they essentially build smart contracts, and it's important that everyone is able to understand how to build them if we want to democratic and broad empowered community on the blockchain, right? So everyone should be able to read and understand how they work, because that's the basic idea, to not get scammed by them or have any problems. And everyone ideally should also be able to write them, and then they can build their own apps, and this just empowers the whole community. So how does it work? To set up Opshin, you just open your command line on your computer, you run pip install Opshin, that's it. And then you have your contract, which you write in a Python script file, just ordinary Python, and run Opshin build, and that's it. So a bit more details, this is the basic outline. And here you can see what I mentioned before. You have this contract is the function validator. you import some preludes before, and then you define the validator. And this validator approves basically spending funds. In this case, never, because the program runs, and as soon as it hits an assertion, it checks like, oh, this has to be true. For example, it's later than 1st of January 24, or some other condition. And if it's not, then it will fail. Then you cannot spend these funds. And here, it always checks that false is true. So this will unfortunately never give you any funds back. But you can see the structure of this validator. It takes like 3 arguments. And this is the extra information that I talked about. If you want to learn more about this, I recommend you to check out the documentation. Here's also a bit longer example just to showcase. You can like you use type hints so that your contract is nice, tight, and secure, and you can give like extra functions. You can import from other places and these things. So this is like a small homework if you're curious about this. And generally, yeah, Opshin is a toolchain, a general purpose smart contract language, interacts with off-chain libraries, and it has a lot of useful tools. And if you want to support this, check out or if you want to learn more, check out the Twitter handle Opshin Dev, check out the Opshin GitHub account, and if you are in a especially charitable mood, then you can send some funds to the handle $Opshin. That's it. I'll just stop the share. And if you have any questions, go ahead. It was maybe a bit technical, but I think
I was going to say that was a pretty technical introduction. But are you related, team, with the xSPO tool team?
I know them. I'm in frequent contact with them because they're building Icon, like another programming language, and I think it's a great tool, but it misses a lot of potential because essentially with Opshin you can reuse all of the Python landscape, which is huge. Like there's testing frameworks, there's verification frameworks, and all these things.
And sorry for this newbie question, but what is the main difference between both projects?
So, I mean, both of them try to be an alternative to Plutus TX. So just give you some way to build on Cardano. And the main difference is the kind of language they let you use. So Icon, they defined a completely new language. So basically, you have to learn something that's really very specific to writing smart contracts. And in Opshin, you use Python. And this is a language that you can use in everyday. 25% of all developers in the world like build using Python. And so it's like very, very popular. And there's a lot of tooling, and every IDE supports it, and like it should be a bit more intuitive to get started with.
Yeah, so basically you don't need to understand Haskell, in other words, model.
Yes, Haskell is completely optional. Like if you want to dig very deep into the Cardano ecosystem, you can go for Haskell, but you don't need to. Just Python, you can build your whole stack in Python.
But you need to know the expressions that are used for the Cardano blockchain, right? That's what you need to get familiar with.
I mean, yeah, you should understand what is an EUTXO, what is a datum, what is a redeemer. But all of these definitions, they are very abstract, right? They're not tightly coupled to Haskell. So if you don't want to learn this language, then you don't have to. You can just learn this abstract idea and then learn how they are implemented in Python, because that's essentially like they can be implemented in Icon, they can be implemented in Python, they can be implemented in Haskell.
Do you think there will be at some time, I mean, I know everything is pretty active currently in the Discord, so everybody who wants to learn it should hop into there. And I think we're going to put the link anyways underneath the video. It's not there right now as we record it, but when you see it, then it's there. But you can share it, Niels, already in here in the chat if you like to. The invite link to your Discord. Or I can do. Do you have a YouTube channel already where you could actually onboard people into Python maybe and onboard them from there into Cardano? That would be like probably the gold, the rainbow.
Yes, yes. I mean, ideally, we have all the tutorials and all the education around this available. There's one big blocker for this. This, as usual, funding. So where ICANN is more or less sponsored by the Cardano Foundation, Opshin is currently looking for people to support it. So if you know anyone, if you want to get involved, reach out to us if you want to anyway support the project. And we have some very dedicated people who build this stuff in their free time, which is great. And yeah, and I mean, these things are very interesting. Right? I want, ideally, I would like a whole education channel on this, the course that you can just watch, like the Pioneer program. We do have actually the Opshin Pioneer program, which currently just follows along the Plutus Pioneer program, which is a 13-week course hosted by OG. It focuses on Plutus text, so Haskell, but we provide basically all the code in Python as well, so you can learn how to write it in Python. Yes,
yeah. Vahid.
Yes, that looks really nice. Thank you, Niels. I had a question. I'm not a dev, so might be not such a smart question, but I'm wondering, are there limitations? I mean, this sounds and is really great. So if there are no limitations, then I would think that everybody from Ethereum and all the developers will be coming to Cardano. So what's the catch, or is there no catch?
Well, the problem is a bit that the underlying architecture of Ethereum and Cardano is very different. So while Ethereum is very popular right now and everyone kind of learned how smart contracts work there and transactions, for Cardano, you still have to learn like these abstract concepts that Marcus just mentioned, like EUTXO and these things. And this is a bit new-ish. However, the idea is that if you express it in Python instead of Haskell, then it's actually not so hard to understand. Like the basic idea is pretty simple. And yes, I mean, everyone, this should really enable onboarding, because Haskell itself already scared away so many people that they didn't even bother looking at the concepts.
Okay, cool. Marcus, and then I think we go on with Alison, if you're okay with that.
Okay, thank you. That I have the last question. Niels, do you know already some existing projects which are developing solutions with Python?
Yes. So one of them is actually, wait, I will put the link in the description. It's a ReadyD app that's kind of an alternative to JPEG Store and these things. It's a very early stage, but they built everything in Opshin and PyCardano. Nescrow is the name, nescrow.xyz. And then also MuesliSwap team, which is supporting this project ideologically, has built their off-chain token verification tools with Opshin. So this is a framework where you basically use smart contracts to verify tokens on-chain with from external parties.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
These are the main projects building.
Thank you.
Cool. Let's move on.
Thank you, Niels. Thank you.
So should I take the stage?
Yeah, take it away.
Great job, Niels. So I'm Alison Fromm. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer at Proofspace. Proofspace is a decentralized identity or self-sovereign identity platform. So what I am going to talk about mostly is what self-sovereign identity is and why you should care. I assume you can see the screen. If you cannot, please shout, but otherwise, great. Okay, so I have a lot of material. I'll talk fast, so I will really try to keep it under 15 minutes. But I'll start with what is identity, problems with digital identity, the solution, which is self-sovereign identity, and then I promise very briefly just about what Proofspace does. So there are lots of definitions of identity. I'm going to take a really narrow view just to talk about it in the context of blockchain and self-sovereign identity. So your identity is made up of an identifier and a credential. So let's break that down. An identifier in the real world is something that's locally created, so it's naturally decentralized, it's locally maintained, and it's unique. So our real world examples, your name, your signature, your fingerprint, your face, those are all identifiers of who you are. And then credentials are issued by many sources. You hold them in a physical wallet or physically somehow on a piece of paper, and they're controlled by you. You decide when to share them and who sees them. And examples are your passport, your library card, your health insurance card, or maybe your diploma. So what is digital identity? The problem is that these real world credentials, you can't take your fingerprint online. You can't take your physical driver's license and show it online very easily. So the solution that we developed in this Web 2 world is to create a virtual account. And every account has a username and a password. And companies like Google, Amazon, your university, Zoom, we all have a Zoom account. They maintain those account records centrally, and that company owns the account. You don't exist online. We're all here today in this Zoom call because we have an account with Zoom, and Zoom owns that account. So as you probably can guess or know, there are some issues with this version of digital identity. The first is that we all have to maintain an increasing number of passwords. The average person is expected to remember over 100 passwords, and that number is only increasing, 25% between 2019 and 2020. And people use easy to guess passwords because they have too many to remember. Easy to guess passwords are easy to steal, and this statistic is terrifying. Every 39 seconds, a bad actor is trying to guess a password. These credentials are also stored centrally, which leads to big incentives for theft. So in 2017, Yahoo announced 3 billion accounts were hacked. 294 million people had their data compromised, and the average data breach cost $3.86 million. One thing that's developed to try to combat the password idea is that you can use credentials from one site to log into another, like you use your Google account to log into some online retailer, but that just increases the risk of theft as these big centralized silos of data are just growing bigger and bigger, thus incentivizing further thieves to break into them. And then we have loss of privacy. So all of this data that we're giving to Google or to Amazon when we log in with our accounts that they control gives them data about us that they are using to track and monitor us. And there's little general understanding or regulation of how this surveillance works. And if you want a really chilling glimpse into the power that these companies have over our data, I highly recommend reading Uncanny Valley, a memoir. It's really terrifying what they know. Okay, so luckily, after that depressing picture, there's a solution, and the solution is self-sovereign identity. So in the real world, an identifier is something locally created, locally maintained, and unique. So in self-sovereign identity, we have decentralized identifiers. And these are numbers that are created by a user's device plus some software. It's locally maintained, so you create it yourself using your phone. It's completely unique, and it becomes your cryptographically generated fingerprint. So your decentralized identifier is your cryptographic fingerprint. So in the real world, credentials are issued by many sources, held in your physical wallet, and controlled by you. In the digital world, we have verifiable credentials, VCs, and they are similarly issued by many sources, but they're held in an electronic identity wallet. And because of that, the owner can control and monitor the data sharing. So this brings a lot of benefits, not the least of which is reduction in password chaos. So with one seed phrase and one identity wallet, you can hold lots and lots of verifiable credentials and lots of different decentralized identifiers, all controlled by just one DID or even a biometric. So vastly reducing the number of passwords you have to remember. The data is stored locally on your phone. Companies don't necessarily need to create large silos of user data. So of course, no data is ever completely secure. A thief could try to break into your phone, but even if they manage to break into the secure area of your smartphone, they're only going to get one person's data. So this could dramatically reduce the amount companies spend protecting data and responding to leaks. So just to give one example, the Equifax data breach a few years ago in the US cost the company $1.4 billion due to the hack of data from 147 million members. So there's certainly a market opportunity in protecting private data. And with the data on your phone, as opposed to centrally stored in a silo, you can control how your data is shared. And verifiers can confirm that a VC is valid without necessarily having access to all of the data using zero-knowledge proof. So I can confirm how old I am without giving you my birth data, my address, and all of that other identifying information. And then my wallet can track and log every data exchange, so I know exactly when and to whom my data is being shared. And users can maintain peer-to-peer connections, and they don't need to rely on these big third-party data silos and third-party controlled accounts. So in theory, with the standards that are evolving, you can take your data to a new platform. And using a separate decentralized identifier, all again controlled by one key and one wallet, means that companies can't track your behavior and link it to an email address the way they do today. So to use a blockchain analogy, self-sovereign identity does for identity what Bitcoin did for money. So with legacy finance, the bank controls your account. But with Bitcoin, you have a decentralized wallet that's controlled by you. With the legacy internet, your identity was centrally controlled by some company. But with self-sovereign identity, you create your own decentralized identity. It's important to make a difference, though. With blockchain transactions, everything is transparent and on-chain. But with self-sovereign identity, the best practice is not to put personal information on-chain. So the decentralized identifiers and the verifiable credentials are stored locally on your phone. And the data goes peer-to-peer from the issuer direct into the wallet of the holder. But the blockchain holds records of the verifiable credential issuer's decentralized identifier to aid with verification. The verifier checks the signature of a publicly recorded identifier to confirm the details of the credential. And here we are in Cardano. So Cardano IOG has developed Atala Prism, which is the protocol that's used to write decentralized identifiers onto the Cardano blockchain. So I'm going to just very briefly talk about what Proofspace does and how Proofspace operates within this self-sovereign identity landscape. I'm going to do a demo in a minute for anybody who's interested. So if you want to receive your own verifiable credential to attest to your attendance at this European Town Hall, please feel free to download the Proofspace app and I'll issue you a credential in just a second. So I've got to give a brief pitch on what Proofspace does. We turn the self-sovereign identity vision into a reality. So for anybody wanting to quickly get started issuing and verifiable credentials, we simplify the tech decisions, we reduce the implementation costs, we make it easy to integrate into existing systems through webhooks and APIs. Ongoing costs are predictable. We are really focused on interoperability, particularly through adherence to evolving standards, and we think we have excellent UX. We will let you attest to that yourselves in a second. I will answer that question right now. Does Atala Prism currently work? Yes, Proofspace is up and running with version 1.4. It is incomplete and lacking in some features and in some standardization. So one way Proofspace has addressed that is through the commitment to interoperability that I had mentioned earlier. So where Atala Prism credentials lack functionality, we can wrap them in a Hyperledger Indy credential and get that functionality to our users. IOG is hard at work and is slowly rolling out Atala Prism V2, which should address some of the gaps that's missing with the existing 1.4, but 1.4 is up and running. So this is what the Proofspace platform looks like. It's a dashboard, a no-code web-based dashboard to issue credentials, a wallet to hold the credentials and to present them, and then a verifier to check the credentials for accuracy. So that is it for the slides. I am going to, let's see, you probably can't see my screen anymore, so I'm going to shift screens. Let me make sure I get the right one. So this is what our dashboard looks like. And we're going to trigger this interaction by pulling up a QR code. So if you want the credential and you don't have the app yet, you can, oh, my computer is so slow when I'm running Zoom. You can scan the QR code, and the first time you scan it, it'll also prompt you to download the app. And the special thing about this QR code is that it changes every 5 minutes or so. So you can't be tricky and take a screenshot and send it to someone who's not here. You have to be here to get your European Town Hall attendance credential. If you're not here, you can't get the credential. Yeah, all you have to do is scan it.
Yeah, it's dark.
It's processing. I just received my successfully scanned the QR code. Event attendance credential. Outstanding.
To me, the screen is a bit dark. Is it just at my screen, or is it?
No, I can see perfectly the QR code.
Yeah, me too. It seems to work perfectly.
Okay, awesome.
Wow.
Then it's just me.
Impressive.
And the Proofspace platform is completely customizable. You can design credential interactions for just about anything. I have kept this really simple, and for data privacy purposes, I'm not requiring that you give me any information. So you can fill out your Proofspace profile if you want. You can put anything in there. It can be a false name. And you'll notice when you look at the interaction, it tells you that you're only sharing your notification ID. And that's just the number from your phone that allows the Proofspace dashboard to talk to your phone. I have no way of knowing who you are based on
I don't know
that.
if anyone can see it. Give me a second. But there is the credential. Oh,
And
with
it has
the date and hour, minutes and second.
And so it would be great then if the next step would be to have somebody verify this credential. So maybe we could get the European Town Hall to give a discount on merchandise to anybody who can present a credential for having attended this town hall. I see
We can do
Covenant.
it.
Absolutely.
Maybe we can discuss to make it for these workshops about the SIP. And it's another question that I want to ask you specifically about the SIP. But as you heard in the first time of the meeting, we are doing a lot of different workshops through the world. IOG is doing it. So maybe using proof of space and this proof of attendance of each workshop will be very useful for the SIP.
Yeah, we'd love to talk about that. That'd be great.
I will send you a message maybe for the European one and one that I will running in my city, because it's a lovely tool to use and there is a proof that people attend and participate. So
yeah, that'd be great.
And I have two questions very related with I would say. The first one is, I know you, Alison. I love your work. You have a great background and you work for here from a lot of time. Even I was in Cardano and you are working on Cardano. And my question is related to what is the main difference between proof of space and root ID? And the second one is, if the team will be present a document about the workshop, about governance, including these identity details we talked today for the future of the governance of Cardano. That's are my two questions.
So I didn't quite get the second one. Let me answer the first one and then come back to the governance question. So Roots ID is a fantastic team. They are focused on building the wallet part of things. So what you just used was the Proofspace identity wallet. Roots is building their own identity wallet. I think they have a different vision for how they want their wallet to be used. The important thing for the industry is that we're all using the same standards so that you could export credentials from your Proofspace wallet into your Roots wallet and vice versa, or that somebody could issue a credential using the Proofspace platform and could issue it into the Roots wallet. And so both Roots and Proofspace are watching the global standards that are emerging around the the type of credentials and the DIDs and the protocols that allow for communication to ensure that we can build towards that interoperability, because it's really important to have not create new silos. I mean, I'd love it if everybody uses Proofspace for everything. That'd be great. But we don't want to have a vendor lock or a vendor silo. So it's really important that, yeah, there's interoperability between Roots and Proofspace.
Outstanding, thank you.
Yeah, I also have a question. Do you have any relation with Yanks?
With
IMMX?
Oh, IMX.
Sorry.
Yeah, no relationship. We are in less close contact with them than we are with Roots. So they are more focused on, as far as I know, and I'm not really that focused on what they're doing. But they're focused on decentralized identifiers only. They're not really working with the verifiable credential part of it. So I think they're taking information, public information, and putting it into a decentralized identifier and storing that on chain. But I don't know them that well. I've crossed paths with Tim, but I'm not that familiar with their work.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to stop screen sharing, and I will put my email in the chat, and anyone with questions or who wants more information, please feel free to reach out. One of the great things about Proofspace is it's super easy to use and to get started. So if you want to run a proof of concept or test out an idea, let's talk.
Thank you so much, Alison, for your presentation. Very professional as always.
Thank you. This is a great audience.
Thank you so much for having the time. I know you're pretty scheduled.
Yeah, well, and unfortunately, I've got a very important stakeholder who's waiting for dinner. So
Yeah.
I think I have to drop off, and I really have to apologize to Vahid. I'm sorry that I'm going to miss your presentation.
No worries, no worries.
Thank you very much for your time, Alison. It was a very, very nice presentation.
Thank you. Nice to see you all.
Bye.
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 Thanks. Vahid.
Yeah, let's talking about professional. Let's bring some balance into this discussion, because after hearing these great professional projects, I'm going to bring you a presentation without slides.
That's
so
perfect.
You have to watch my face. Start off, Marcus, thank you very much for invitation, and European Town Hall for having me. First time I am joining this. To be honest, I put this in my calendar as a recurring event, like I think a year ago, but somehow I never joined. So sorry for that, because I'm based in the Netherlands, so and I'm pretty active in the Cardano community.
Me too.
So thanks for the nudge, and who knows, maybe I'm going to join more often. Okay, so to start, my name is Vahid, and I'm a stake pool operator, but I'm here today to tell you a bit more about the xSPO Alliance. The xSPO stands for Extra Small Stake Pool Operators. It's an alliance of those stake pools, which we created, I think, I'm not even sure, but it could be around 2 years ago. And it was around the same time that I joined Cardano as a stake pool operator. I've been with Cardano from day one, but at some point I thought, okay, now I really have to start a stake pool. And I saw all these people in the ITN. I was a bit too lazy to go into the ITN. So after it launched, I said, okay, now I really have to start a stake pool. I had quite some experience. I have a little bit of technical background. I also have a professional marketing and sales background. I knew that being a stake pool operator would be about a lot of marketing, because a proof of stake actually means that you have to attract a delegation of others, and you have to convince delegators somehow to delegate your stake to you. I know many SPOs don't like to hear that, but that's the truth. That's how the proof of stake works. So I thought, well, I'm gonna do this. It's probably gonna be very easy. So I started my stake pool 2 years ago, and well, guess it wasn't easy because I was one of the 3,000 stake pools, and I had a very small stake. Well, I thought I had a big stake, but compared to many other pools, it was pretty small, and I had to compete with 3,000 other pools. So it was pretty hard. Even with my background and experience, it wasn't easy. So I first off, I had to create my pool, the technical part. So I went into all these big forums, and I pretty fastly came to understand that, okay, all these guys I'm talking with, they are very experienced, they have big pools, and they know what they're talking about. Okay, I can ask them questions, but I feel a bit small, doesn't feel comfortable. And I'm honest about that. I mean, that's how people feel. You're inexperienced, so you don't know, you feel a bit. So I thought, you know what? I was talking with a lot of small stake pool operators who started. I said, hey, what if we start an alliance, a group with only small pools that have the same issues? Because if I talk with a big established stake pool, I mean, they don't understand my problem, probably because they forgot how hard it was. So that's why I decided with a handful of other small stake pools to open this alliance. It was just for fun, just for this to have peers of the same type. So we started this alliance. We opened the Telegram group and the Discord channel. And the idea was very simple. You were only allowed to join us if you are very small, actually extra small. Your stake could not be higher than 1 million ADA. And that's it. You had to be polite and be helpful. And that's how it started. And yeah, and what's the mission? The mission is also simple. We want to help others grow and help each other grow. And the thing is that when you grow, so my pool is actually pretty successful now. I have almost 50 million stake. But the idea is that when you prove to be able to grow, you should not leave the XSPO Alliance, because that's exactly what we need. So we said, if you enter, you have to be small because you want to learn and grow. But if you succeed, actually, you're not allowed to leave because then you have to learn the other pools, how you did it. So that's the upward spiral that we are trying to achieve with the XSPO Alliance. So, well, and the XSPO Alliance is also pretty successful. I think we are the second largest alliance in Cardano stake pool alliances. And we have a pretty large Discord with about 700 people, about 400 stake pools that are working with us. So it's pretty nice. We have Sunday meetings, voice channel where we discuss all the issues. It could be everything from holidays, children, to technical discussions, and everything in between. Yeah, so that's it. Actually, basically, what we're about. And yeah, and also what maybe to finish this introduction or the explanation of XSPO with is our Discord does not also allows all types of other people. So if you're a delegator, or if you're a big pool, whatever, everybody is welcome to join us. There is only one rule, which is very important. I did not tell you yet. You have to love decentralization, which means that you like to be a single pool operator. So cool. That's an important rule. So everybody who likes that idea is encouraged to join our alliance and to help our pools grow.
Can you please share the Discord link or invite in the chat?
Yes, I will type it in.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's all I got, guys.
So you can leave if you start in the alliance and you grow. But for example, if a big pool wants to give some advices, they are welcome to in the alliance or in the Discord chat.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So we have actually 3 kind of roles when you enter our community. You either are a stake pool that is small and wants to become an official member. Then you have to really apply to kind of official process, but it's very simple. We check you and see if you're a really single pool and you are small. And when you are admitted as an official member, then you're also mentioned on our website. You're also mentioned our Sea Explorer, so you get some extra marketing. And when we do some marketing activities, we use your pool to promote you. So that's the first role. That's the most important, of course. Then we have the delegator role. If you like to support the small pools, maybe because you want to come and stake with us, we love it. So you can get your own role when you enter, and people can see that you're a delegator. And we also have a rotating delegation program where a single pool is selected, and then everybody is delegating to that pool for them to just try and see if their pool works, and they can mint blocks and help each other. So that's the delegate. And then we also have a special role, which we call the xSPO ally role. And it could be everything. As long as you like our mission, you can get that role. That's it. So you could be a big pool, you could be anybody.
And if you found out that someone who's trying to promote his small pool is a multiple pool operator, how is the procedure, or how the team gets?
Yeah, good question. Actually, the previous question was also very good. Thank you. It happened only once, fortunately, but it's pretty clear. If a single stake pool becomes a multiple operator, they can no longer be an official member. So that's it.
You actually want to avoid that. If you're once in that group, you have access to certain tools like Tozy Drop, for example, and they manage a lot for you. You can join also the Cardano Single Pool Alliance, and they're all pretty helpful.
Yeah.
So you actually don't want to lose that connection to you. Right. And joining xSPO community is a little bit like Alice in Wonderland, right? At first you're small, you can go through the door, and then you grow, and then the door is too big. That's just
yeah, that's correct. And then but the funny thing is, I like the analogy. But when you were able to enter the room and you get big, we want you not to get out.
Yeah, it's a very friendly community.
Yeah, so because it's the upward spiral of growth that we want to create, and it's also fun. I mean, it's also very important. We just want to have fun as well. I mean, we are human.
And another question is, you know that sometimes, for example, there are a big contest to win the delegation of the CF, IO, etc. How is the procedure to help this, or is there a procedure to help these small pools, or how it works?
Yeah, well, of course, the xSPO Alliance does not control IOG and CF delegation, but it's very interesting to see that relatively, if you look at the amount of pools that we have compared to the total amount of pools that there are, xSPO always gets a huge chunk of all those delegations. So I don't know. I really have a lot of technical savvy people in our alliance. And I think last CF delegation we had maybe like 1/3 of all the delegations, and we're a small part of the total pool of all SPOs. So yeah, we are pretty active. I think that's probably the reason.
Yes, and your profile on Twitter is big, so that helps you to promote the small pool. So
yeah, that's the whole idea. Yeah, that's the whole idea.
It's important for me to know, for the SPOs operators, that you need to work on your own brand, your own image as a pool. So I see how your marketing background will help, and indeed how your Twitter account helps with that to the small FPOs.
Yeah, exactly.
Boaz, you have a question. Oh, you had.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
I had I had many questions, but I don't know if I can remember a single one. I would like to know if when a small stake will come in xSPOs, I don't know if it's that.
xSPO.
How do you help it? Are you going to help it to have a big life stake or minting blocks? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Does
So
my question make sense, please?
yeah, I think you mean, so how do we in practice help small pools that join our alliance? And well, that's one of the most important things. So first, we have knowledge, because as I said, we have a lot of smart pools and people who know how to grow their pools. So you come into a separate channel where we tell you what are important things to do in technical sense, but also in marketing sense. And then if you, for example, you put something on Twitter, normally when you're new, you have like 20 followers, nobody sees it, right? But when you post it in our channel, everybody's going to retweet it because we want to help you. So then also our own account helps retweet and get more exposure. So those are the things that mainly help small pools, I would say. And of course, in the end, you have to do, I mean, whatever help you get from us, you have to do a lot yourself. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
Boys, what I would encourage you, just join the channel and hop in on Sunday call, and you see the love. It's amazing. It's really amazing. You can ask your questions if you want. It's a really nice chat. It's very personal. It's very respectful. That is amazing. It's a really, 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 really great conversation there. You can just enjoy it. It's just beautiful.
Thanks, Marcus.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for doing this. Really, it's just great.
Yeah, and I love it. I mean, it's great. I mean, I learned so many great people just by doing this. So, and in the end, it's all about people for me.
And the good things to know, if I know someone who wants to start with his pool or her pool, I can tell him to go to this alliance.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's really, really helpful. Indeed, sure. I'm not an SPO, but if I know someone, I will delegate.
Perfect. Maybe this will help to get some more SPOs that did not know about us joining our alliance. Cool.
Yeah, in regards to your question, Mauro, with the CF delegation, there's a link being sent out by CF every now and then. So you need to sign up for the news. So your friend, he or she should join also IOG technical channel, and then attend the SPO calls, and in there usually the link is shared. That's where I got mine from. I think.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Yeah, and maybe to add to that, if I may, also to get the CF delegation, again, exposure is important, because we have a lot of very, very smart people in our community that can develop, can build a lot of things. But if nobody knows that you're there, again, it's going to be hard for you to get the delegation. So yeah, and that's also what we could do, help each other with by when somebody posts, hey, I built something, then that we can expose that more so others know that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. I think that rounds it up. It's about exposure. It's about helping, and about asking.
Yeah.
And daring to ask, I think.
Yeah, and that's also, let's not forget that it's also about working hard. That's always a given fact.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Wade. It was very, very nice presentation.
Thank you. No worries.
Very enjoyable.
Thank you. I think we're good with the time. So check out the profiles in our Discord as well. I think, Wahid, have you already created the xSPO project in our channel?
I don't think so. I know that you told me, but I think I forgot. So let me do that.
Yeah, because then you could put in there your link. That's totally fine. and just announce once in a while some activities.
Yeah.
Anything,
Oh,
anything you
okay.
like.
I'll do that today. Cool.
Yeah. Here we have a last question from Boaz, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, sure.
What is the alliance? What's the alliance is getting from helping stake pools, and is XSPO's lifetime limited?
What
think the
the
last
alliance
time-
is getting from helping SPOs? Well, what define the alliance? The alliance are the small pools and the pools themselves. So they are, by helping, you get also back. So there is no profit. This all non-profit. People do this voluntarily because they either like it or they know that if they give, they will get.
Usually you see each other at least twice in life.
Yeah, and that's the lifetime is unlimited. As long as you adhere to the rules, then you can remain a member. It's a very, very simple
You can't
alliance.
get out.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you
can't
can, but we tried to prevent you from leaving.
I love that. Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Boys, join the channel. I think Vahid has posted the link just before.
Yeah, just join the Discord, and the rest will be automatic.
Cool. Thank you. Let's wrap it up. Join the families back home. Enjoy the time. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Mauro, anything else to add? Davide?
No, I think it was a very, very enjoyable town hall as usual. We are doing a very nice thing. Thank you for the presence of everybody in the community. It's always very much appreciated. Mauro, you're muted if you're trying to say something.
The 3 presentations was outstanding.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think the last one was very professional.
Thank you. That was not intentional.
Oh, damn it. We try another time. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Okay, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.